Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at the world of Jehovah's Witnesses, specifically their online presence. We'll be dissecting a page right from their official website, jw.org, to get a sense of how they're presenting themselves online.
Yeah, it's interesting how this webpage is almost like a digital front door to their beliefs and practices. It's their chance to make a first impression on anyone who's curious about them.
It's like their curated introduction to the world. So what jumps out at you right away when you look at this page?
Hmm. The first thing I notice is the title. It's Jehovah's Witnesses, Who Are We? It's a direct question. It piques curiosity right away. Rather than jumping into like a long explanation, they start by just inviting the visitor to explore.
Right. Almost like they're acknowledging that there could be preconceived notions or misinformation out there,
Yeah.
and they're saying, okay, let's address the basics first.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of just like a wall of text, they have
Mhm.
a lot of images and videos interspersed with these concise blurbs of text. It makes it really easy to digest.
Yeah, it feels modern, almost like a news feed. And, you pointed this out earlier. They don't overwhelm you with info. Instead, they offer these links to other resources.
Right. It's a very strategic approach, I think. It's like saying, come on in, take a look around. We've got a lot to show you, but we're not going to force it on you. And this approach could be really effective now because everyone is bombarded with info all the time.
Right. It's all about giving you a taste and letting you choose if you want more.
Exactly. And if you look a bit deeper into how the page is structured, there's a You May Also Like section right up front. And it features FAQs about their beliefs.
Oh, that's interesting. What do you make of that placement?
Hmm. It seems like they're not shying away from questions or misconceptions. It suggests they're anticipating that visitors might come with certain assumptions or doubts, and they want to just address them head on. It speaks to a certain level of transparency.
So they're not just presenting a polished image. They're acknowledging that there are different perspectives out there.
Right. And another thing that caught my eye was the placement of introductions for the ministry. It's not tucked away. It's right in the main navigation bar in their video library.
Let's unpack that a bit. What does the inclusion and the placement of that specific section
Yeah.
tell us about their approach to spreading their message? Is this something that's common for religious organizations in the digital age?
Oh, that's a great question. Having introductions for the ministry so prominently displayed, especially within a video library, could indicate that personal interaction is key for them. Sharing their message through conversations. It's not just about reading, it's about engaging with others.
Right, so it reinforces this idea that they're not just about info online, they're actively encouraging these personal connections.
Exactly. And if you think about how Jehovah's Witnesses are known for their door-to-door ministry, this online approach could be seen as a modern version of that. They're using digital platforms
Yeah.
to facilitate these personal connections.
So they're evolving with the times. But the core principle of outreach remains. Now, scrolling down the page, the thing that struck me was the sheer variety of content they offer.
It's not just Bible teachings.
Mm.
There's news, organizational info, even content tailored for families, teens, and children. It's almost like a comprehensive resource for everything, not just spiritual stuff.
It's giving one-stop shop for guidance and support. It seems like a pretty deliberate choice. What do you think they're trying to achieve with this?
It does seem like they want to be seen as a source of guidance for more than just religious matters, touching on practical and social stuff as well. This could be a way of showing that they're relevant to people's everyday lives and becoming a valuable resource for people looking for a sense of community.
So it's not just about converting people, it's about offering practical support on a bunch of issues, almost like a support network, but built around their interpretations of the Bible.
Right. And by addressing these everyday concerns, they might be appealing to a wider audience, including people who aren't usually drawn to religion.
It's a really interesting approach. And while we're talking about reaching a wider audience, one thing that stood out to me was the multilingual design of the website.
Oh, yeah. The language options are pretty impressive. You can access this page in so many languages. It really reflects the global nature of Jehovah's Witnesses and their commitment to reaching different communities.
Yeah, it drives home the point that this is a global organization.
Yeah.
But beyond just translating the content, what does this multilingual approach tell us about their strategy and goals?
I think it goes beyond just making info accessible. It shows a deep commitment to inclusivity and a desire to connect with people on a cultural level by providing stuff in their native languages. They're demonstrating respect for diversity and making an effort to connect with people from different backgrounds.
It makes me wonder about the logistics of it all. Managing a website with that many languages, how do they keep everything accurate and consistent?
That's a great question. It really shows the dedication and the organizational skills of their global network of volunteers. They must have a pretty complex system for translation, review, and content management to make sure the quality and the message are consistent across all the languages.
It's a testament to their commitment for sure. Going back to this idea of them offering guidance and support, I'm really intrigued by this section on family life. It seems like traditional family values are a big thing for
Oh,
them.
absolutely. Their interpretation of the Bible really influences their views on family and relationships. They advocate for strong family bonds, parental authority, and following certain moral guidelines.
So while they're trying to be modern and inclusive, their core values are still very traditional.
Exactly. It's a fascinating contrast. They're navigating the modern world. While holding on to these traditional beliefs, it could be a strength or a point of contention, depending on how you look at it.
It reminds me that even organizations embracing tech
Yeah.
and modern communication can still be grounded in these long-held beliefs. It's about finding a balance.
It is. And this tension between tradition and modernity is something that a lot of religious groups deal with.
You know what's really interesting to me is that we're getting all this info from just one webpage. It's just a small window into a much bigger world.
Yeah, for sure. It's a curated glimpse designed to get you interested and encourage you to explore more.
Like the tip of the iceberg. Makes me wonder what other insights we'd find if we dug deeper into the website.
That's the beauty of this kind of deep dive. It's just the beginning. It sparks questions, challenges assumptions, and makes us want to learn more.
Speaking of learning more, let's go back to the introductions for the ministry section. I'm curious about the content of these introductions.
Oh, yeah, good point. We talked about its placement and what it says about their outreach, but we haven't really looked at what they're actually saying.
Yeah, what are they actually saying in these videos? Are they trying to convert people directly, or is it more subtle?
I'm glad you brought that up. It would be interesting to look at the language, the tone, and the messaging to see how they frame their beliefs and how they approach potential converts.
It could tell us a lot about their communication style and how they tailor their approach to different audiences.
Definitely. And it might show how they deal with common objections or misconceptions. They know people might come to the website with preconceived ideas or even skepticism.
So it's about presenting themselves in a way that's both engaging and persuasive while addressing any concerns.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance. And it's probably something they think about a lot in their outreach, both online and offline.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about how much thought goes into this stuff. It's not just about sharing info. It's about knowing who you're talking to and tailoring your message.
Right. And as we go through this page, we see even more evidence of that. One thing
Yeah.
that I noticed, it's a small detail but important, is where they put the donation section.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. It's not front and center or anything,
Yeah.
but it's there. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, most religious organizations need donations to operate, so it's not weird to see it. But the fact that it's not super prominent, but still easy to find, suggests a certain level of transparency.
Almost like they're saying, we're open about needing money, but that's not our main focus.
Exactly. It seems like they're putting the content and message first, at least on this intro page. This could be a way of building trust and showing that they're about more than just money.
That makes sense. They want to come across as a genuine community, focused on helping people, not just asking for donations.
Right. So shifting gears a bit, what are your thoughts on the overall tone and the language they use?
I think it's very approachable and welcoming, even for people who don't know much about Jehovah's Witnesses, or maybe have some preconceived ideas.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely trying to project a positive image, an inclusive one. They use simple language, avoiding jargon or complicated theological terms.
And they don't avoid potentially controversial stuff. They even link directly to their FAQ page, which suggests they're willing to have open conversations and address any concerns.
Exactly. It shows confidence in their beliefs and a desire to be open, even with people who might disagree.
It's kind of refreshing, especially when religious discussions can get so heated sometimes.
It is. Okay, so let's talk about the specific content. What stands out to you?
Well, the emphasis on Bible teachings is expected, but I was surprised to see sections on family life, teen issues, even coping with personal problems. It's a more well-rounded approach than I thought.
I see what you mean. They're not just talking about abstract theology. They're showing how these principles apply to real life, offering guidance on all sorts of issues.
It's like they're saying, we're not just for Sundays, we're here for you all week, through the good times and the bad.
That's a good way to put it. And that emphasis on practical help could be really appealing to people who want a faith that's relevant to their lives.
Right. It makes me think about our original question. How do Jehovah's Witnesses present themselves online? Based on what we've seen, I'd say they're aiming to be seen as modern, inclusive, and supportive, offering guidance for all the challenges of life.
I completely agree. They're using their website to connect with people, share their message, and build a global community.
It's been a really interesting look, and I feel like we've only scratched the surface. This deep dive gave us a glimpse into how Jehovah's Witnesses are using the internet to connect with people, spread their message,
Yeah,
and build a community.
definitely. And for anyone listening who's interested in learning more, I encourage you to do your own research, go to their website, read their stuff, and come to your own conclusions.
The great thing about a deep dive is that it's just the start. It makes you curious and encourages you to learn more. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep learning. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Jehovah's Witnesses.